Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this Chaos Zero Nightmare video. So in today's Chaos Zero Nightmare video, we're gonna break down the tier list ratings for all the forbidden cards in the game. So before we begin today's video, I want to share about lootbar.gg. Lootbar.gg provides a safe and affordable platform to acquire Chaos Zero Nightmare crystals, and the prices on the platform is generally cheaper than the official site because they're able to provide additional discounts on the different purchases available. They also have limited offers for the 6,480 crystal bundle pack, which costs only $72, saving nearly $28 compared to the official site. Lootbar is also really reliable with a high score of 4.9 on Trustpilot with tons of reviews to show their trustworthiness as well as effectiveness in the service. Therefore, Lootbar is cheaper, safer and faster than other platforms in the market, so do check out the 10% off new users coupon in lootbar.gg with my link in the description down below. Forbidden cards, they are really strong, and in most cases they will be able to find some use or another, but there are some clear power difference in terms of each of this card, and in today's video we're going to break it down, talk about their usage, their combos, as well as how good they are in the current meta game. So without further ado, let's start with the tier rating. So first of all, we have the meta tier. Meta tier is basically cards that are usable in almost every archetype. Very strong, very combo heavy, has a lot of good mechanics that can amplify the potential of the cards. So I think without further ado, I think Confiscation is definitely meta because Confiscation is a zero cost draw 1, and if you're doing your combo cards with your forbidden cards in your deck, then it's a zero cost draw 2. So you have multiple copies of this, you are able to cycle into your forbidden cards every single turn, and you're able to draw one at zero cost for more filtering for your combos in general. So definitely meta card, so I'll say very safe to put it up here. So next one, we have the Useable. So Useable are cards which I think if you do get them and they are the better of the bunch, you can actually go for them. So like cards which are generically useful for the cause as well as what they want to do, they will be in this tier. So the best representative will be Forbidden Disposable Ego. So you have a 1 cost draw 1 and draw for each cost of that card. So this card, I think in most cases it's usable because you can sort of put this onto units where most of their cards are at least 1 cost. So this will be a 1 cost draw 2. So less efficient than Confiscation, but definitely still works as a draw engine. If you have a lot of cards that are cost 2, or if you have a few cards that cost 3, like Forbidden Algorithm, then Disposable Ego will be 1 cost, draw 1 plus whatever cost. So 3 cards if you have a 3 cost card drawn. So that's with regards to the Disposable Ego, but it will probably be in a lower tier for the usable side, which I'll explain in a little bit, but it's definitely usable. So next one, we have the Chaos Run Only. So Chaos Run Only, they're basically like cards which I think is good for Chaos Run's purpose, but outside of that, not much use. So for this tier, there's only 1 card, which is Guidance of Futility. So this card is 100% Chaos only because stress reduction is not that impactful at the very least for other dungeons, and the heal at the start of battle is less effective as compared to the other abilities of the cards on this list. So like in general, this card will give you a very smooth sailing Chaos run. So you get it in the first cycle, and then on the second phase, you get this heal every time you draw, which is pretty consistent heal. But outside of Chaos, not exactly useful in most cases. So therefore, this card belongs here. And last but not least, we have the Gimmicky Tier. So as the name suggests, these cards are gimmicks. You can definitely make them work, you can definitely have fun making them work, but they are not very consistent and they require quite a bit of setup to work. So without further ado, let us start with the Gimmicky Tier. So for the Gimmicky Tier, we have Forbidden Algorithm. You can cheat this card with the Pyramid Accessory to activate its lead effect without any AP cost. And that is definitely one way to abuse this card because 3 cost is a little bit heavy, and for you to consume 3 costs and getting a random card which you might or might not be able to use is not very worth it. For example, if you get Forbidden Algorithm at 3 costs, and you use it for 3 costs, you get like Eternal Hunger, you actually lose AP, right? You get 1 draw and then you lose 2 AP, so not very efficient. But considering the fact that you can actually cheat it out with the lead tag, it's a usable card, but it's just very gimmicky because the RNG factor on the forbidden cards that you get is very unstable. Like there are some cards that are not usable in certain decks, and there are some cards which are very combo centric. So like in a normal deck with no planning on the specific forbidden cards, this card is too RNG based to work in most cases. So when it works, when you get your desired forbidden cards for that specific showcase, for example, it's very fun, it's very interesting, but in most cases it's a very unstable card. And then the next card is Gesture of Freedom. So I don't have the card unlocked on my account, so therefore I'm using this white top version. I've seen this card in the Forbidden Dungeon, and the first thing I saw the ability is one random card in hand costs -1. So you have the retain card, so you can hold this card and get that -1 cost efficiency for your combos in general. So that is one way I see you using this card. But first of all, you need to draw into this card, and the 1 cost on the random card means that you need to draw into this card, and this card's -1 cost needs to fall on the card that you want to use. So I'll say to a certain extent, it's random. RNG is not always going to be the most like fun thing. Like it's fun if it works, but there are cases where the random 1 cost is on a like less useful card and you don't even want to use the card in the first place. So considering the fact that it's a 1 random card in hand, there's a possibility that this -1 cost could be also on the negative cards that are spawned by the monsters as well. So like there's just so many things that can go wrong with this card that yeah, if you want to try to make it work, good for you. But then like in most cases, it's not a card that you want to put in your deck. So the most ideal situation I see you comboing this deck is to use it in a combo deck where you want to one-turn kill your opponent. So you want to reduce all the cost or as much cost as possible to actually achieve that one-turn kill. And if this minus cost falls on the correct card, then it will allow you to pull off your combos more easily. So that is one way this card can work or should work, but then like yeah, it's just too gimmicky. So that's why this card is here. So other than that, I think rest of the cards, they are generally very feasible and usable. So Chaos Run only, I'll say it's Guidance of Futility, because this card is, like I mentioned earlier, just very sustain heavy. Not good for damage centric purposes, so not good for all your Hyper Basin runs or even your dungeon clears, which requires you to finish the fight in a specific turn as the enemy becomes stronger. So this is where I think for the Chaos runs itself, if you get this card and your team has issues surviving, this card is a great addition to ensure that you pass the runs. But it's usually not the card that you actually hunt for your units in general, because like it is a very chaos centric card. So that's for futility. So for the usable side, like I mentioned earlier, Disposable Ego, I think 1 cost for 1, not very good. But if you get 1 cost for 1 and you draw into a 1 cost card, it's 1 cost for 2. So it's still not as good as Confiscation in most cases, but it's definitely, I think, serviceable as a draw engine. And if your deck is a 2 cost heavy deck or a 3 cost deck, or units with 2 or 3 costs and you draw into those cards, then it's a 1 cost for 3 draws or 4 draws, which is actually quite good if you consider those situations. So it's not the best card, but definitely usable. And then we have Engraved Malice. So Engraved Malice is a lead card, which means that you can also cheat it out with the accessory. So 2 costs is actually very heavy, 2 costs for 1 draw, but the ability to activate 2 random cards in your hand, ideally it's the last 2 cards that you want to activate, but there is this RNG factor that you can actually activate the drawn card, right? So this would potentially affect your combo cycle, and this is where, like, if this activate 2 cards in your hand is not random, I would definitely put this card in the meta side, because you can cheat it out and then you can cheat the AP of the 2 cards that you want to activate. In fact, I actually wanted to put this card in the Gimmick Tier, but like I do think that this card is usable if you have the mechanics to cheat the lead and then just use it as a simple 0 cost draw 1 with the ability to cheat the cost of other cards. So that's with regards to Engraved Malice. So it's obviously not the best card in today's rating, but definitely usable. Forbidden Portrait, I think, Portrait of Fury, I think is it's a unique card in my honest, because initially I released a video for the Confiscation plus Portrait of Fury, but I realized in most cases, Portrait of Fury is a 1 cost draw 2. So like a lot of cards in this deck, right, or in this Forbidden card category, they have a lot of draws. So if we were to benchmark Portrait of Fury to the likes of Confiscation, like Confiscation is 0 cost draw 1, right? Draw 2 if you have a Forbidden card for 1 turn. Portrait, you can spam it, but then like because it costs 1, if you are using it as a draw engine for your combo teams in general, is not the most like hard-hitting card, and you can only draw at most 2 cards. So sometimes the efficiency of the draw on this card might not be as good as Disposable Ego, because like I mentioned, there could be cases where Ego gives you 1 cost for 3 cards or 4 cards. So draw efficiency wise, Portrait of Fury is stable, but it's not the best. And like to a certain extent, I think if you use it on your DPS, there are better cards down there. So Fury is definitely usable as a draw engine / damage card, but the draw is not the most optimal and the damage is also not the best. Hence, it's only in the usable tier. So that's for Portrait of Fury. And for the meta tier, we have the last 2 cards, Eternal Hunger as well as Ecstasy of Violence. Eternal Hunger is a very simple 0 cost draw one. So like it's a 0 cost 1 AP card basically, because when you draw into the card, you get 1 more draw. So you're not losing any card efficiency at 0 cost. And you usually don't cast this card, even if it costs 0. So this card is best comboed with other abilities to discard it, and then you have the ability to draw it back up for that multiple plus AP and multiple draws. So Nia is one. Nia has the ability to discard a card, and then for this card to go into the top of your deck, and then you draw it back out so that you're able to spam that draw as well as the AP boost for your units, different combos that you want to pull off. There's also the West Mascot, which allows you to return this card to the deck and then draw into Yuki's card or whatever combatant card, and then you draw back into this card for that +1 AP and +1 draw. There's also this neutral card, I think known as Precision Mark. So it's a card that does damage and then return a card in your hand to the top of the deck, and then you find some way to draw it for you to just benefit from this card multiple times. So the combo potential is there, and it's a very simple like +1 AP for your deck, even if it's not like combo. So it's just a very good like card that gives you that ability to chain into other cards in general. Yeah, because like one thing to note is the draw one, right? So you draw this card, you draw one, you don't lose any card efficiency. So even at the base level, it's just a very simple and efficient combo card that can fit into almost any deck. And if you specifically want to build around this card, there's so many combo potential that can allow you to draw multiple times and get multiple APs in one turn. So there is this combo potential, and it's just a very cost efficient card at the base level for it to be considered a meta card that can go into any save data. So that's for Eternal Hunger. Next one, we have Ecstasy of Violence. So this card at the base level, let's not talk about the combo potential. It's a 9 cost, 160 times 4. So as much as it costs 9, but if you consider the fact that you decrease the cost by 1 whenever you draw, you can actually get to 0 cost really easily, because drawing in this game is super easy. There's a lot of cards with draw mechanics. Rarely, your Ego ability, your draw engines from your other forbidden cards like Eternal Hunger, Portrait of Fury, Confiscation, and there's just so many units which are used as a pot of greed draw kind of unit that allows you to reduce the cost of this card to 0 very, very quickly. So that's one. Very cost efficient in most cases. Obviously, you're not going to use it at 9 cost, but if you are building your deck with this card in mind, then you will have a lot of draw cards in your deck so that you get to the 0 cost ASAP. So that's number 1, cost efficiency. Secondly, 150 times 4. It's a lot of damage. And whatever boost you put on this card, the damage boost that you actually get is multiplied by 4 because of the times 4 over here. So you can combo this card with the likes of Ray, with the likes of a whole bunch of morale boosts, and then the overall amplification is much more than like a single strike or a dual strike from other cards in general. So this is a very, very strong DPS card. And another combo that you guys might want to know is using her with Haru, because Haru generally wants to have all the high cost card in her deck, because like her partner is one that boosts the damage output of cards that are above 2 costs, and the ego skill of that specific partner is able to give you that maximum damage boost, because Ecstasy of Violence at its base cost is 9 cost. So 9 plus 1 cost from another card is 10 cost, and you're able to get that 200% damage boost with the ego skill very, very consistently. And this is where this card is just really good. Has good damage potential, has good combo potential, and just fits into most of the DPS slot as long as you have other draw support. So that's why this card is in the meta tier. So yep, that's pretty much it for today's Forbidden Card tier list. Let me know how you feel about this tier list as well as your thoughts about the different forbidden cards based off your own experiences. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more, and I'll see you guys again in the next video. Bye guys!